Hello, my name is Laura, and I have a confession to make before we get into the thick of it. For most of my life, I was the person in the room that no one really saw. I was the wallpaper, the dependable one, the one who didn't need help. And last Thanksgiving, after 38 years of being invisible, I finally became visible to my family, but not in the way I had dreamed about as a little girl. It happened over a cold slice of pecan pie. My sister, Jessica, picked up my laptop. She thought she was about to embarrass me. She thought she was going to show everyone at the table how pathetic her older sister's little antique hobby really was. Instead, she turned the screen around, and the room went silent enough to hear the ice melting in our glasses. On that screen was my business account balance, $12.4 million. You would think that finding out your daughter or your sister is a millionaire would be a happy moment. You would think there would be hugs, tears of joy. We are so proud of you. But my family didn't cheer. They didn't cry happy tears. My mother stood up so fast her wine glass shattered on the floor, and she didn't say, "Congratulations, sweetheart." She said, "You have millions, and you let us struggle." That was the moment the glass wall I had lived behind for 30 years finally shattered. And today, I want to tell you what it feels like to be the forgotten child. I want to tell you how I built an empire out of being ignored. And I want to tell you why, even though I have $12 million in the bank, the only thing I truly wanted was for my mother to look at me just once like she looked at my sister. Let's start at the beginning. Because to understand the explosion, you have to understand the silence that came before it. I grew up in a suburb outside of Detroit. Not rich, not poor, just middle, the kind of neighborhood where the lawns are green and the garages are full of junk you never use. For the first 8 years of my life, I was an only child. My parents weren't the hugging type. They weren't the kind of parents who throw big birthday parties or put glitter on posters. But they were there. Mom helped me with spelling tests. Dad took me fishing on Lake St. Clair sometimes. It wasn't the Brady Bunch, but it was fine. It was safe. Then everything changed. I remember it was 2 a.m. My Aunt Kelly shook me awake. Her face was pale. She told me to pack a bag because my mom was in the hospital. My little sister, Jessica, was on her way, but she wasn't supposed to arrive for another 2 months. I didn't understand what premature meant back then. I just knew that when I finally saw Jessica, she looked like a doll. A tiny, fragile doll with see-through skin and tubes coming out of her nose and arms. I wasn't allowed to touch her. I wasn't allowed to get close. I was 8 years old, and in that moment I stopped being a daughter. I became a threat. When they finally brought Jessica home, our house turned into a hospital. Not because of love, but because of fear. My mom developed this obsession with germs. I'm not talking about regular cleaning. I'm talking about industrial-grade bleach. Hand sanitizer stations in every room. You had to wash your hands if you touched a doorknob. The smell of bleach still makes my stomach turn, even now, 30 years later. Here is the part that really messed me up. Whenever I got sick, and I was a kid, so I got colds. Whenever I sneezed or coughed or ran a fever, I was sent away. Pack your bags, Laura. You're going to Grandma Marie's house. You're going to Aunt Kelly's. At first, I thought it was a vacation. Grandma Marie made chocolate chip cookies. Aunt Kelly had a whole bookshelf of Nancy Drew mysteries. I thought I was lucky. But kids aren't stupid. After the 10th time, after the 20th time, you figure it out. You realize you aren't being sent on an adventure. You are being removed. You are a biohazard. Your very existence, your healthy, normal, breathing existence, is a danger to the golden child. I tried everything to get their attention, the good kind of attention. I brought home straight A's. Mom barely looked up from Jessica's medical calendar. I won the school science fair with a project on solar energy. Dad asked me to store the display board in the garage because Jessica was allergic to the cardboard dust. Is that even a real thing? I still don't know. The memory that still cuts the deepest happened when I was 12. I had taught myself to play Bridge Over Troubled Water on the piano. I practiced for months. It was the school talent show. I was so proud. I was so nervous. The night of the show, Jessica had a temperature of 99.1. a low-grade fever, nothing serious. But guess who didn't have a single person in the audience? Me. I played that song to a crowd of strangers. I played it perfectly. And when I looked out into the dark auditorium, I was looking for two faces that weren't there. 2 weeks later, the whole family, my parents, both sets of grandparents, went to Jessica's 15-minute flute recital. She played Hot Cross Buns. She hit maybe half the notes. They gave her a standing ovation. That was when I realized the rules of the game were rigged. And that was when I stopped trying to win their love. I just started trying to survive. High school was my escape plan. While Jessica was busy being the star of the middle school drama club, she was always the lead, obviously. I was building a ladder out of that house. You want to know what motivates you? Being ignored. Nothing lights a fire under you like realizing that no one is coming to save you. No one is checking your homework. No one is coming to your parent-teacher conferences. You either sink or you learn to swim like crazy. I found my refuge in two places: books and my grandmother's jewelry box. Grandma Marie had this incredible collection of costume jewelry. Rhinestones, brooches, old clip-on earrings. She would let me sort them, organize them by color, by era, by maker. I didn't know it then, but she was teaching me the most valuable skill of my life. She was teaching me how to see the difference between a fake and the real thing. Because in that house, I was the fake. Jessica was the real daughter. I was just the placeholder. The summer before my junior year, I took the SAT. I didn't tell anyone I was studying. I just did it. I woke up at 5 in the morning, did practice tests while everyone was asleep, and went to school early to talk to my guidance counselor, Mr. Chen. He was the only adult who looked at me like I had potential. When the scores came back, I almost fainted. 1,600. Perfect. Less than 1% of students get that score. I ran home. I was breathless. I burst through the kitchen door. Mom was at the table, helping Jessica with her English homework. Jessica was complaining about a character in a book she hadn't read. I said, "Mom, I got a perfect score on the SAT." My mother didn't look up. She just said, "That's nice, honey. Can you keep it down? Jessica is trying to concentrate on a big test tomorrow." Jessica looked at me and smirked. "Yeah, Sarah, some of us actually have to study. We can't all be lucky." My mother patted Jessica's hand. "Don't stress, sweetheart. You're just a different kind of learner." A different kind of learner. I still have that score report in a box under my bed. It never went on the fridge. But Jessica's C+ English essay, that went on the fridge, with a "We're so proud of you" magnet. College applications came. I applied to 15 schools. I wrote my own essays. I begged Mr. Chen for recommendations. I filled out the FAFSA forms myself, staying late in the computer lab because my parents were too busy with Jessica's cheerleading competitions. When the acceptance letters came, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, University of Michigan, I hid them under my bed. I knew what would happen if Jessica found out. She would suddenly have a breakdown. She would need emotional support. My parents would ask me to stay close to home so I could help with her anxiety. The day I got the full-ride scholarship to the University of Michigan, I drove to the library downtown. I went to the 4th floor, sat by the window overlooking the park, and I cried for an hour. Not sad tears. Relief. I was finally getting out. When I told my parents at dinner, my mom said, "Michigan, that's so far. What if Jessica needs you?" My dad said, "I hope you aren't expecting us to help with expenses. Jessica's competition fees are very high this year." And Jessica, she just whined, "Oh my God, finally. Can I have your room? I need more space for my clothes." That summer, I worked double shifts at a diner called Carson's. Carol, the owner, was the first person who ever treated me like I mattered. She'd slip me extra tips and send me home with leftover pie. "Baby," she'd say, wiping down the counter. In diners and in life, the people making the most noise usually have the least to say. You keep your head down. You'll be the one they write about someday. Move-in day at Michigan. My parents couldn't drive me. Jessica had a cheerleading showcase. Aunt Kelly showed up instead. She helped me carry my cheap plastic drawers up 3 flights of stairs. Before she left, she handed me an envelope with $500 in it. "Grandma Marie wanted you to have this," she said. "She's so proud of you, Laura." I found out later that Grandma had saved that money from her Social Security checks for 6 months. She was buying my freedom. That's what real love looks like. It's quiet. It doesn't ask for attention. It just gives. College was a blur of ramen noodles, all-nighters, and that beautiful, terrifying feeling of being completely on my own. I graduated summa cum laude. My parents didn't come to the graduation. Jessica had a migraine. But that was fine, because I had a plan. I got an entry-level job at an auction house in Detroit. We'll call it Harrison & Co. It was a fancy place. Old money. The kind of place where the furniture costs more than a house. I started in the estate sales division. Basically, when rich people passed away, I went through their stuff. China sets, silverware, old paintings. It was boring, until I met Mrs. Kensington. Mrs. Kensington was an elderly widow who had no children. She left behind a massive house full of what everyone assumed was costume jewelry. Junk, rhinestones, glue-on gems. The other junior appraisers didn't want to touch it. They wanted the silver and the furniture. I volunteered to catalog the jewelry. I spent hours sorting through that collection, and then I saw it, a small Art Deco brooch. It wasn't flashy. It didn't sparkle like the big diamonds, but the weight was wrong. It was too heavy for costume jewelry. The clasp was too complicated. The back had a tiny stamp, a maker's mark I had seen once in a book at Grandma Marie's house. I spent 2 weeks researching that brooch. I stayed late. I paid for a gemology course online with my own money. I built a presentation. I went to my boss, Mr. Harrison. "Sir," I said, "I think this is real. I think it's a Cartier from 1925. He laughed at me. "Sarah, we tagged that as costume." I said, "Just look at the marks." He looked for a long time. He pulled out a loupe and inspected the clasp. That brooch sold at auction for $47,000. It was Cartier. It was real. And suddenly, Mr. Harrison stopped laughing at me. After that, I became the magic eye at the auction house. I found things other people missed. A diamond ring hiding in a box of beads. A Victorian brooch buried in a junk drawer. My commission checks started growing. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was saving. But the real turning point, the moment my life split in two, came 2 years later. The Rothschild collection, a massive estate from a European family. I was on the team cataloging the jewels, and I found a piece everyone else had walked past. A simple, unassuming ring. I worked on it for 3 days. I barely slept. It turned out to be a piece from a famous French jeweler that had been lost since World War II. When it sold, it brought in $238,000. Mr. Harrison called me into his office. I thought he was going to give me a raise. Instead, he said something that terrified me. "Laura," he said, "you're wasting your talent here. You need to start your own authentication business." Me, start a business? I had no money. I had no safety net. I had a car that was 10 years old and an apartment that smelled like my neighbor's cooking. But he was right. The thought took root. I started doing freelance work on the side. Private collectors heard about me. The quiet woman who can spot a fake from across the room. One night I was sitting on my floor, surrounded by jewelry books and authentication tools, and I had an epiphany. I had spent my whole life being the invisible sister, the disposable daughter, the one who got sent away, but in this room with these jewels, I was the expert. I was the authority. I decided to bet on myself. I emptied my savings account. I took a loan against my car. I rented a tiny office space, a storage room above a Chinese restaurant. The rent was cheap because it always smelled like Kung Pao chicken, and the Wi-Fi only worked if you sat in the corner by the window. For the first 6 months, I was terrified. I woke up at 4 a.m. with cold sweats doing the math. How many months until I go broke? My furniture was a card table from Goodwill and a chair I found on the curb. I cleaned it with bleach. Ironic, right? The smell of bleach used to scare me. Now it just smelled like hard work. I started small. authentication for local pawn shops and antique dealers. My fees were low, but my accuracy was perfect. Word spread. Then, 6 months in, I got the break I needed. A collector in New York had inherited a box of old junk from her grandmother. She wanted me to look at it. I flew out there, credit card, of course, and spent a weekend in a hotel room going through this box. I found 2 pieces that had been mislabeled. One was a rare Tiffany pendant. The other was a signed Van Cleef and Arpels clip. The woman was so happy she cried. She not only paid my fee, she gave me a 10% commission when those pieces sold. That commission was $86,000, more money than I had made in the previous 2 years combined. Suddenly, my phone didn't stop ringing. Estate lawyers, widows, retired couples cleaning out their attics. They all wanted the quiet woman to look at their stuff. By year 3, I hired my first employee, a young gemology graduate named Jenny. She was quiet like me. She had been overlooked by everyone because she wasn't loud. I saw myself in her. Now she runs my authentication department, and she is the best in the Midwest. By year 5, we had offices in Detroit, Chicago, and New York. We had a reputation for discretion. Wealthy people don't want the world to know they're selling grandma's jewels. They want privacy. We gave them that. The money became large, 7 figures, 8 figures. But here is the strange part, the part I'm not proud of. I never told my family. I kept going to Sunday dinners. I kept wearing my Target jeans. I let them believe I was still just working at the antique shop. I would sit at the table, eating my mother's dry pot roast, listening to Jessica brag about her entry-level marketing job, where her biggest accomplishment was bringing the boss the right coffee order. Jessica would hold up her wrist. Look at my new Michael Kors watch. It was $200. I would be wearing a Patek Philippe that cost more than her car, and I would smile. That's nice, Jessie. I started sending my parents money anonymously. $5,000 a month, then 7. Aunt Kelly told me they were struggling with Jessica's student loans. Mom mentioned they might lose the house. I couldn't let that happen. Despite everything, it was still the house where I used to fish with my dad. So I wired it, and they assumed it was an inheritance from a distant relative. Jessica took credit for inspiring the family to be generous. The cognitive dissonance was exhausting. I was living a double life. By day, I was Laura the CEO, closing million-dollar deals with Dubai collectors. By Sunday night, I was Laura the disappointment, listening to my father say, "You know, honey, if you got a real job instead of playing with old jewelry." I wanted to scream. I wanted to say, "Dad, I just authenticated a necklace that is worth more than this neighborhood." But I didn't, because I was still that 8-year-old girl, hoping that if I was quiet enough, helpful enough, invisible enough, maybe they would finally love me. Spoiler alert, they don't love you just because you pay their bills. Let me set the scene for you. Thanksgiving, 6 months ago. My mother called me crying. She had a bad back. She couldn't cook the dinner for 20 people. She was panicking. I should have just let her order pizza, but I was tired. Tired of pretending, tired of the lies. "Mom," I said, "let me handle the food. I'll have it catered." She gasped. "Catered? Honey, we can't afford that." "Don't worry about the cost," I said. "I've been saving up." I didn't tell her that saving up meant writing a check from an account with 8 figures in it. I hired a high-end catering company, the kind of food that makes you weep. Maple-glazed Brussels sprouts that cost more per plate than Jessica's weekly grocery budget. Thanksgiving morning, I drove to my parents' house. I had my laptop with me because there was a major auction happening in Hong Kong. A client was bidding on a rare Art Nouveau necklace, and I had to be ready to authenticate it. Dinner was actually nice. For once, no one was fighting. The food was incredible. Even Jessica shut up after her first bite of the Brussels sprouts. After dinner, I excused myself to check on the auction. I went into my old bedroom. Mom had kept it exactly the same. Same purple bedspread. Same stack of books. Meanwhile, Jessica's room had been renovated 3 times. Classic. I opened my laptop. I had about 15 tabs open. Business accounts, pending contracts, The auction house in Hong Kong. My current balance, $12,400,000. I heard the door open. Jessica, she didn't knock, she never knocked. Laura, I need your phone charger, she said. Then she saw the screen. She squinted, she walked closer. Her face went from confused to curious to hungry. Oh my God, she whispered. What is this? Before I could close the laptop, she snatched it off the bed. She ran out of the room. Everyone, come look. I followed her into the dining room. 20 people. Aunts, uncles, cousins, my parents. All of them half drunk on expensive wine they thought was from Trader Joe's. Jessica spun the laptop around. Look, she yelled. Look what our little antique dealer has been hiding. The room went silent. The clock on the wall ticked. Tick, tick, tick. My mother squinted at the screen. What am I looking at? Jessica's voice cracked. She's rich, Mom. Laura is rich. My mother laughed, a nervous, high-pitched laugh. Don't be silly. She works at a little shop. I stood up. I smoothed my sweater, a cashmere sweater that cost more than their mortgage. Actually, Mom, I said, my voice quiet, I own one of the largest jewelry authentication companies in the country. That little shop you never ask about, it has offices in 3 cities. My dad choked on his bourbon. My mother's face turned red, then purple. She stood up so fast her chair fell over backward. You have millions, she screamed, and you let us struggle. Struggle, I said. I send you $7,000 a month. That's nothing, she screamed. Your sister has student loans. We need a new roof. Jessica started crying. Loud, theatrical sobs. You betrayed me. I deserve to know. I could have used that money for my MBA. My father slammed his fist on the table. How could you be so selfish, Laura? We raised you. We gave you everything. And that's when the dam broke. 30 years of being invisible. 30 years of being sent away. 30 years of watching them cheer for hot cross buns while I played bridge over troubled water to an empty auditorium. It all came out. Raised me, I said, my voice shaking. You shipped me off to grandma's every time I sneezed. You missed every award ceremony, every science fair, every parent-teacher conference. You never saved a dime for my college, but you took out loans for Jessica's private school. You called me selfish for wanting to go to college because Jessica needed me. I looked at my mother. You told me I was a different kind of learner. You know what I learned? I learned that I was alone, and I built this company because I had no one else to rely on. The room was dead silent. Then my mother spoke, and she didn't say she was sorry. She didn't say she was proud. She said, we want a beach house in Florida. I grabbed my laptop. I grabbed my purse, and Hermes' bag my mother once complimented as a nice replica. I walked to the door. Behind me, I heard my mother already planning how to spend my money. Jessica can get that BMW she wanted, and we'll redo the kitchen. I walked out. The cold November air hit my face. I got into my car, a sensible BMW that looked nothing like a millionaire's car, and I drove home. My phone exploded. 47 missed calls, 200 texts. The family group chat looked like a war zone. I didn't answer any of them. I went home, poured a glass of wine, and sat in the dark. I wasn't sad. I wasn't angry. I was empty. The way you feel after a storm passes. Everything was quiet, but everything was also destroyed. The weeks after Thanksgiving were a circus, and not the fun kind with elephants. Jessica went full social media warrior. She wrote a novel on Facebook about her selfish millionaire sister who hoarded wealth while the family ate ramen. They never ate ramen. They ate pot roast. Bad pot roast, but still. Distant cousins I hadn't spoken to in a decade suddenly had very strong opinions about my moral obligation to share the wealth. Uncle Bob sent me a 3-page email about the Bible and family. I'm pretty sure Uncle Bob hasn't opened a Bible since 1987. The craziest part, they showed up at my office. Monday morning, 8 a.m. I walked into my reception area and there they were. Mom, Dad, and Jessica sitting on my expensive leather couch, looking like they were at a dentist's office. My receptionist, Jenny, looked terrified. They said they had an appointment, Laura. Mom smiled. We're here for an authentication. Jessica held up her Michael Kors bag. I want to know how much this is worth. I just stared at them. That bag is worth $40 at a garage sale. Mom waved her hand. Never mind that. We've discussed it as a family. We think you should set up trust funds for everyone. Jessica nodded. I need at least $2 million to start my new life. I'm thinking of starting my own jewelry company. My dad said, your mother and I want to retire. We're thinking a beach house in Florida, maybe a boat. I looked at them, these three people who had ignored me for 30 years, who had made me feel like a threat, a burden, a disappointment. And now they were sitting in my office, making demands. No, I said. The word hung in the air. No. No, I repeated. I'm not giving you a beach house. I'm not funding Jessica's delusions of being a business owner. I've been sending you $7,000 a month for years, and you never once asked if I was okay. You never once said thank you. You just took it, and you resented me for not giving more. Mom's face crumpled. But we're family. You used me, I said. My whole life. You used me as a scapegoat, a babysitter, a piggy bank, and I let you. Because I wanted you to love me, but you don't love me. You love what I can give you. I pulled out my phone. I opened my banking app, and I canceled the monthly transfer, right there in front of them. Mom gasped like I had slapped her. Jessica burst into fake tears. Dad started yelling about ungrateful children. I pressed the intercom. Jenny, please call security. Watching my 65-year-old mother being escorted out of my building by a guard named Tyrone was one of the strangest moments of my life. She was screaming, "You'll regret this. We'll sue YOU." They didn't sue me. They couldn't. I had lawyers for that. But the harassment didn't stop. New phone numbers, fake email addresses. They tried to contact me through my company's customer service line. Hello, I'm Laura's mother, and I need to speak with her about a family emergency. The emergency. Jessica saw a car she liked. I had to send a formal cease and desist letter. My lawyer wrote it. Very official, very scary. Then my mother played her last card. She called Grandma Marie. Grandma Marie is 92 years old. She lives in a little house with a garden. She doesn't have much money, but she has more wisdom than the rest of my family combined. My mother called her, crying, saying I was abandoning the family. Grandma Marie listened. Then she said, "Good for Laura. About time someone in this family succeeded on her own terms." My mother didn't speak to Grandma Marie for 2 months. Grandma Marie didn't seem to mind. She told me later, "Honey, the trash took itself out." It has been 6 months since Thanksgiving. I moved. I bought a new house with a security gate and a panic room. Not because I'm paranoid, but because I finally understand that safety isn't just physical. It's emotional. I needed a place where no one could show up unannounced and demand a beach house. I changed my phone number. I deleted social media. I told my assistant to screen all my calls. And for the first time in my life, I stopped holding my breath. I started seeing a therapist, a wonderful woman named Dr. Evans. She asked me a question in our first session that broke me. "Why do you feel guilty for succeeding?" she asked. I didn't have an answer, but I've been working on it. I've been working on realizing that I am not responsible for fixing my parents' mistakes. I am not responsible for funding my sister's lifestyle. I am responsible for me, for the 8-year-old girl who got sent away for sneezing, for the teenager who played piano to an empty room, for the woman who built a $1 million company on a card table above a Chinese restaurant. I deserve peace. As for my family, the updates trickle in through Aunt Kelly. Jessica started her own jewelry authentication business. From what I hear, she bought a website template and calls herself a gemologist. She has 0 credentials. She has 0 clients. She spends most of her days posting passive-aggressive quotes on Instagram about toxic wealth and family betrayal. Mom and Dad finally stopped trying to contact me after my lawyer sent them a letter. Now they tell everyone that they never wanted my money anyway, and that they're praying for my salvation. They're also telling people I stole from them, which is impressive, considering I was the one sending the money. And Grandma Marie, she's coming to visit next week. She's going to help me catalog a new collection I just bought, a collection of Victorian mourning jewelry. She's going to sit in my living room, drink tea, and tell me stories about the old days. She is the only family I need. So here I am, 38 years old, $12 million in the bank, a successful company, a house that feels like a sanctuary. And for the first time in my life, I am not invisible, but not because of the money, because I finally stopped begging people to see me. You know, I used to think that success was the best revenge, that if I just worked hard enough, got rich enough, they would finally look at me with respect. They would finally say, "We were wrong, you are amazing." But that's not what happened. They didn't see a daughter who succeeded despite the odds. They saw a wallet that had been hiding from them. And that's the hard truth, isn't it? Sometimes the family you are born into isn't the family you belong to. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally love you conditionally. They love you if you stay small. They love you if you give. They love you if you disappear. I don't want to disappear anymore. I don't know if I will ever talk to my mother again. I don't know if I will go to another Thanksgiving dinner. Right now, the thought of sitting at that table makes my chest tight. But I do know one thing. That 8-year-old girl who used to pack her suitcase every time she sneezed, she is finally safe. She doesn't have to hold her breath anymore. She doesn't have to earn love. She just gets to exist. And that is worth more than $12 million. If you are listening to this, and you are the invisible one in your family, the one who gets overlooked, the one who is so independent, the one who doesn't need help, please know this. You are not a threat. You are not a burden. You are not invisible. You are the one who learns to swim when no one throws you a life raft. You are the one who builds an empire on a card table. You are the one who plays the piano even when no one is listening. And one day, someone will listen, or maybe they won't, but you will be okay. Because you learned something that the golden child never will, how to survive on your own. Thank you for listening to my story. I'm Laura, and for the first time in my life, I'm finally okay with being exactly who I am. Thank you for watching if you haven't subscribed, yet please do so. And hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.